Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to the Next Level, Conversations that Propel Business. This is your host, Bob Gibbons.
And I'm Stephen Nooner.
We're excited that you're here with us today. Our guest is Gary Jackson, and we're looking forward to his wisdom today. One of the things that we really like to stress in this show is how to have fun and meaningful conversations where we have real learning about business. So no pressure, Gary.
Okay.
But we always like to start off with wisdom from other folks. And Stephen, you got something for us today?
Yes. So the quote for the day, or the wisdom, is, "There is too much to know for any man to know much anymore." And it's by Judy Robinette, a venture capitalist. At least that's where I heard her say it. She might have been quoting someone else. But I thought it was appropriate for our guest today, who I think we'd like to introduce, but you look like you have something really funny.
Some pithy comment or something.
Go ahead.
I rarely do, so if I have something,
Well, let's go.
I really
Go ahead.
don't. But no, the thing I like about that, though, is that it basically says nobody can know everything. And so many of us try to be, the supposed Renaissance man, but we can't be. So you got to be focused, and especially coming from a venture capitalist, I thought that was interesting because, the venture capitalist wants to know that you're very focused on what you're doing, and that you're an expert on that, and they don't care if you know everything else. So that makes sense that she would say that. Was that worth the wait?
Yeah.
That was deep.
I don't even know why I had a quote. I should have just let you lead off with that, right?
All right. Go ahead and introduce Gary and shut me up.
Since Bob already introduced our guest, I would like to also add that I'd like to also introduce my friend Gary Jackson. Gary is the managing partner of Cornwell Jackson, an accounting and financial services firm specializing in advisory, audit, business, and tax services. Cornwell Jackson has 30 employees and has been in business since 1980. If you want to learn more about Gary or his firm, visit cornwelljackson.com. That's Cornwell, Cornwell. How'd I do?
Very good.
Right,
Very
thank
good.
you. And
Spelling bee.
Jackson.com. Hopefully you can get that part right. And goandgrowfirm.com. Welcome, Gary.
Hey. Good morning.
Thanks for being with us today. We always like to start off the show and our guests with something of gratitude. And any particular thing that you're grateful for today?
Well, I'm grateful to be breathing. I mean, that's one thing that I've always enjoyed. But I'm grateful that I have a golf game this afternoon.
You're easily pleased.
I know. I'm
Oxygen
just
and
pretty
golf.
easy
That's all you
guy.
need.
Pretty easy guy. Absolutely.
Well, now I understand there's something about you that's just a little bit odd or unusual, or maybe a little embarrassing about something called Boo.
Oh, Boo.
What is Boo?
Did I have to go into Boo? Boo is my miniature dachshund, and she's like a little tiny thing, but she's, you know how every day you just want somebody to greet you at the door? Well, that might be your wife, or it might be, your kids. But for me, it's my
dog.
little miniature dachshund. So,
Long hair, short hair?
Short hair.
All right, cool. Well, for those that didn't know.
Gary, I want you to bear with me on this first question, because it's a leading question, I know, but I think it's appropriate. So I Googled before you came on this today, and I found out on yellowpages.com that there are 1,055 Dallas CPAs.
Is that all?
Well, that's all that showed up, right? I'm sure there's probably more. So why Cornwell Jackson?
Why Cornwell Jackson? Well, we're not a perfect fit for everybody, but for the clients that we serve, I our accounting firm is based on businesses that are sort of in a growing or getting to growing mode. So we don't try to be all things to all people. We try to focus on that business owner group and the families behind those businesses, and that's really what we focus on. And so in the CPA world, you've got, I call them technical cave dwellers, and you have a group or a subset that's sort of advisory, helpful, helping you figure out things, because in business there's a lot to figure out. And so we just try to be those guys that help the business owner get from point A to point B based on some kind of plan they have, and try to work with them. We're just pretty advisory.
And so you're forward-looking instead of maybe always just backward-looking? Is that what you're... Yeah,
the knock on our profession has always been, hey, accountants, they're historians. They don't get it. They're going to give me a tabulation of figures. They're going to give me a report card at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter. But a really good accountant or a good accounting firm basically is more forward-looking and trying to help our clients plan for the next big event, the next big capital expenditure, the next investment, the next way your client's trying to grow to the next level. So we're a little bit more, I hate to use this word. Sorry about this Bobby buzzword, but proactive. We try to be a little bit more proactive in that area.
So Gary, that sounds like it's sort of bleeding over into the CFO world of going forward. So what's the difference between a CPA and a CFO?
Well, it's a CFO basically does that, and at a certain developmental level, every business that is trying to scale is going to need that financial professional CFO type person to take them to that next level, to help them attract capital, to help position the company correctly. But along the way, there's so many steps, and so what you have to decide as sort of an entrepreneur or a business owner is, what do I need at this current time? Can I take a really strong roll-up-your-sleeve controller, work with that for a while, and sort of lean on my outside firm? Or currently there's something called fractional CFOs, where you have a fractional service that comes in and helps you at certain guidepost meetings to help direct you. So you can go at it either way, but for true scale, yes, you're going to eventually need that CFO. We can be helpful guides, we can do things, but at some point, if you're getting bigger, you have just too much to manage. You can't really lean on your outside firm too hard in that area.
What would be a good sign for some business owner listening? What's a good sign that maybe they're starting to grow? What are some of the signs that you see when someone's starting to grow their existing CPA firm?
Well, what I find is that if somebody was leaning on me and then they needed to go to a CFO, for example, it usually is the complexity of their business. So when the financial reporting complexity, I have an example, and I'm not going to use their name, but I'll say I have a heavy equipment company right now. And they started out and they were really big and had a big presence here, but they have now acquired 3 more companies. They're expanding in Abilene, Austin, San Antonio, and the complexity of their financial reporting has become not immense, but more comprehensive. And so now they need an organization to sort of do the roll-up reporting and do some of the bigger stuff for them.
Tell me about Go and Grow. How is that different than just bookkeeping?
Well, Go and Grow is defined I guess it was created from the idea that business is changing somewhat, and as a firm, we're trying to sort of skate where the puck's going to be, and we kind of feel like a lot of entrepreneurial business owners and a lot of the next generation is less dependent on, I'm going to call it old style accounting firms for lack of a better word,
Sure.
where you go and you go to an office in a big 30-story building, and somebody comes out and there's Oriental rugs, and what do we, you know, and we feel like the entrepreneur and the people we deal with appreciate sort of this blend of practical, this blend of conservative, but conservative with your money.
Right.
So, and so we kind of felt like we would want to have a business that was more transactional. So historically you'd bring a pile of records, a checkbook, and we would create a set of books for you. That was traditional bookkeeping. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about accounting on the cloud, doing your accounts payable and billing remotely through the internet. Processing transactions for you at the transaction level. So if you have a Betty Sue in your office, and I don't mean to be sexist in that, but if you have a Betty Sue in your office that's you know, been sort of the person that you go to for accounting as the interface with your accounting firm, it's sort of a chance to where you can sort of outgrow her and do the transactions, and as an entrepreneur get access to the financial reports directly, as opposed to having to go through a conduit in your office.
So Go and Grow is a trademark process system for you?
I don't know that it's, I think we have some marks. I don't know. I know that we have actually sought some protection in that area, but basically it's a transaction-based processing of transactions like outsourced business services at a local level, not with a firm in India, but with a firm here where you can get your transactions processed, and we become the accounting factory for your business.
Gotcha.
So kind of like a turnkey solution so they can focus on, back to our quote, right, what they're excellent at.
Absolutely. You know, absolutely. That's what you want to do is you focus on what you're good at, we'll focus on what we're good at.
I do have a quick little ridiculous question I want to ask you while we're talking about bookkeeping, taxes, and accounting. What's the most ridiculous write-off you've ever seen a business owner try to push through?
It wasn't a business owner,
okay,
but the one that comes to mind is we have represented some professional athletes before.
Okay.
And
say no more.
And so part of what in professional athlete world land you incur is penalties if you're late to team meetings. And so we've written off Rolexes.
Oh.
Now, wait a second. We may have allegedly written off Rolexes because they needed to have a very dialed in Swiss timepiece to be able to not have a $5,000 penalty.
I gotcha. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask a lot about that.
Tell me, what's the biggest challenge you have with your firm right now?
I think the biggest challenge for for our firm, for every firm here in town, is just, I call it the talent wars. The talent wars are waging out there. Getting young people that want to work at a firm that deals with entrepreneurs and is not one of the big four firms is probably our biggest challenge, because trying to get that right person that has the right heart and that has the confidence they can start at a firm with our footprint and be successful. That's the biggest challenge right now.
Well, what happens whenever your firm's growing and all your clients are not exactly heading in the same direction? And what do you do when you need to fire some of those clients? Let's find out when we come back from the break with our guest, Gary Jackson.
Stick around.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: don't renew, renegotiate. So you're probably wondering what the difference is between those two. Well, renewing a commercial lease usually means that the rental rate changes, but not much else. That could leave a lot of money on the table. Don't get lulled into the misguided idea that a great relationship with your landlord or leasing agent will result in a good deal for you. And never, ever tell the landlord that you really want to stay in the building. Instead, you need to renegotiate. That takes a comprehensive look at your needs and puts everything on the table for renegotiation. Options, improvements, free rent, and other lease clauses. Bottom line, the landlord should have to compete for your business instead of just assuming you're going to stay. To learn more, contact me at texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Want to create a breakthrough in your business or personal life? Here's a tip. Stop shopping for insurance and insurance agents. Begin looking for a way to more effectively buy and manage your insurance. At Alkali, that is exactly what we provide. The freedom you create by changing this mindset alone will make an impact. Plus, you can stop listening to all the insurance commercials on TV and radio, unless they're funny, of course. Are you an insurance novice or just want to take things to the next level? Knowledge is power. Come join us for the single most important class that you never took in business school. We have the following upcoming classes that we teach through Collin College and the Small Business Development Center. Thursday, November 19th, Protecting Your Business 101. To sign up or learn more, visit us at alkaliservices.com. That's alkali, A-L-K-A-L-I, services with an S.com.
Hi, this is Eric McGarity, CEO of Globe Runner, Dallas-based digital marketing agency. I'll tell you, one of the services that Bob and Steve can benefit from is our reputation management.
Welcome back to The Next Level. We are here with our special guest, Gary Jackson, managing partner of Cornwell Jackson. If you want to learn more about Gary, you may visit cornwelljackson.com or goandgrowfirm.com. Welcome back.
Okay, so I'm still a little unclear on the Go and Grow, and the fact that you actually have a separate URL for Go and Grow versus your main company tells me that there's really something special about that. So I want to make sure we address that a little bit more. So tell me, what kind of client is appropriate for Go and Grow, and how is Go and Grow specifically different than
something else,
a traditional model?
Sure. Well, Go and Grow is for as far as the type of client. So it fits two scenarios. One scenario is I'm going to call the entrepreneurial scaling business that doesn't have a well-developed accounting department, or has an accounting department that's under-functioning, if that makes sense. And then the second application is some very narrow industries, like we do real estate management companies that have a multitude of properties. So what we do is we get all their transactions and we become the accounting factory for them, so that they use at the different property levels, they get the reports. But generally, investors want reporting based on property. They want reporting on total. They have to do reporting for the bank, for the whole suite of investments they've made. And so what we do is just help them do that. But we do it at a transactional level. So if a investment group owns 40 properties sprawled across different places, we can bring it all together for them.
Got it.
Yeah, that's a lot more clear. Thanks.
Okay, so let's move into what we call our high-low section. And the high-low section, we really talk about, the great things and the not so great things in life and in business. And so in the high-low, we kind of want to talk about all aspects of your life, from business, personal, et cetera. But what is one of the highs, one of the great things that's happened to you in the last few years in your life, in your business, whatever, that you would be willing to share with us?
Well, I think the highs for me are, I've always wanted to be sort of like the Mr. Miyagi of accounting firms, I guess is the best way of putting it. But
so you only want Japanese clients? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I kind of the wax on, wax off thing. But no, I mean, I don't want to get all philosophical about it. But I think there's more to business than business, and so I believe it's important to go beyond, or to sort of get to the layers. And a lot of times clients won't let you do it, and a lot of times the environment doesn't let you do it. But for me, just doing what I do is not as rewarding as some other things. So I guess I would say the high is I've been on a discovery mission myself, reading some books, and one of the recent books I read was Scary Close, which really makes you take a sort of a hard dive at what motivates you and how you are in the world, and how you are with others and what's important to you. And so in that process, accountants, a lot of people that go into the accounting profession, You know, you've heard me use the term cave dwellers. Well, you know, you might say there are people, and there are, I don't know that I want to hang around too much with people. And you would normally say that most people that go into our profession are introverts. And I would categorize myself as a recovering introvert, I guess is the best way of putting it. But basically the book and some of the revelations it's come to me is it just kind of, if I want to influence and lead people, which you do every day in business, if you want to influence the guy that's got the car business that you serve, if you want to influence the kid down the hall in the cube that's struggling with his marriage, you have to take the time to do that, number one. You have to be intentional about building relationships, because relationships create influence, which then let you have leadership, and then leadership can cause change. And if you want to be a Mr. Miyagi in your organization, you have to be intentional about that. So.
Okay, now some of our listeners might not know the reference to Mr. Miyagi, so who was he real quick?
Okay, Mr. Miyagi was the mentor, trainer, instructor in the Karate Kid. I guess it was a movie in the 80s.
Everybody knows who Mr. Miyagi is.
I never saw a single Karate Kid movie.
Very
Can you believe
sorry.
that?
No way!
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
It looks so stupid to me.
Man.
So
See what I deal with, Gary?
I know. Where's he been?
Yeah, let's go. Let's flip the gear. I mean, because that's a highlight. So, or actually, circle back and draw down.
Sure.
So it's peeling back yourself so that then when you can influence, or like I'm a little bit unclear. So it's building the relationships so you can have the influence.
Right.
But where's the high for you?
Well, I think the high for me is just, I think
in this journey,
honestly, is just sort of the hopefulness of it. Okay. So in the process of, you know, if you're successful in business, and I work with a lot of type A, hardcore, hard-driven, entrepreneurial, got to get there people. Right. And I am one of those. Okay. But if you unpeel the onion of what's behind that? Why do I do it? What has caused me to get here? And try to at least understand yourself and let go of some of yourself, because some of those drivers that have driven you may or may not be helpful for what you really believe is the most important things in life. Okay.
And so you've had some realizations and some things you've been letting go of.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Well, let's flip it to the low. What is one of the lows in the business or in your life that you've experienced recently?
Well, you know, I don't know if it's recent. I think, you know, one of the things I experienced was, you know, I had a breakup of my partners and our firm. We had a really, I'll call it a very significant wealth management practice in our business. Only, I guess it was 8 years. It's been about 8 years now. And we were growing, we were significant, we were hitting the fastest growing firms in North America list. We were rolling fat, to make a long story short. And but what happens when you start rolling fat, you get partners and some of the greed and who's getting, you know. And I think my failure was I wasn't emotionally intelligent enough. During that phase, I was the managing partner to navigate and solve some of those issues, which now I think, I'm not sure, but I think I would be more skilled at it. But I wasn't this. I had to go through it and feel the hurt and the breakup, and it's that whole thing. It's like, think of a business divorce. If you go through a business divorce, and we try to spin it, that, you know, we spun it off and we did all that kind of stuff, but really, at its essence, it was a business divorce, and that's hurtful. I mean, anytime you're in a relationship with anybody, and that relationship says, well, it's not really working out, you know, you kind of go, well, what could I do different, and how could I have done it different? So I think stepping back from it, I think it was one of the better things that happened to me in life, because it made me sort of wake up to a lot of things. But I think from the standpoint of just hurtfulness, it was sort of a low, because, you know, you were everything every entrepreneurial would ever want. moving up. Your net income per partner was extreme and high. You were just knocking it out of the park. Everybody thought you were cool. Everybody,
right,
you were a business to be envied. But
you end up going through the breakup.
When you end up with the breakup,
Yep.
it's unfortunate because I don't think either of the businesses that evolved from it are quite as good as they would have been if we'd kept it together. But time evolves and those things change. So
now, Bob, real quick, since we're talking about breakups, Karate Kid is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm not sure this is going to work, my friend. I'm just kidding. You know what you're getting for Christmas. Let's kind of stay in that, Gary. So we talked a little bit about a breakdown. It sounds like you see it was a breakdown and something you had to go through. But tell me about a breakdown that you've turned into a breakthrough.
Well, I think the breakup or breakdown that we sort of came through was this breakup of our practice. It left the guys who were still standing, me being one of them, with a new group, and we had to sort of start over and go, what are we going to be in the world, and how are we going to affect our business? And I think it's really I call it a rallying. There's been sort of a rallying, and we got to get through some of the hard stuff and figure out what we're going to do now. And it's made us more intentional about the clients we want to serve, more intentional about what we want to be about in the world. We're still accountants. I mean, come on, we're accountants. So we're still accountants, and so we're still trying to gather clients, and we're still trying to work on audits and tax stuff. But we've kind of gone, we really don't want to work with certain profiles of clients that are difficult, and we want to make sure that the clients we are serving are good to our people.
What would you say would be your biggest insight? I mean, you guys have been in business since 1980. I mean, you've been doing this. You've seen a lot of evolution, taking a lot of different things. What's the biggest insight in your business?
That's just almost too huge a question. But
I like huge questions.
Yeah, well, huge questions. I think to me, the insight that I've always come back to is it's your people. You're only as good as your people. You can only go as far as your people will take you. Make the right investments in your people. Don't shortcut it, and find the right kind of people, and you'll have a great business.
So if we talk to you in 3 years from now and you've been wildly successful, what would you have done?
Wow, I think what we would have done, just from a real practical standpoint, you would see me being more Mr. Miyagi in our firm.
Back to that?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. And working really with the business owners on that side of the business, and with my team members, to translate what I've learned over 30 years to them, right? So there would be that, and then the second part would be our Go and Grow firm division is really taken off with a lot of new business, and we have a lot of young people that are excited about how that's something new and different, and they want to be part of it. So
great.
That's awesome. Looking forward to it. Well, I'd like to thank you, Gary, just for your generosity today and sharing and your wisdom. And I'd like to also thank our audience for tuning in. Bob, not so much with your
Don't buy me that video for Christmas.
I promise you.
I won't watch it.
I will make you watch it.
I'll re-gift it.
It will change your life.
I would have sent you a version
That's what I'm
too.
afraid of.
If you'd like to get in touch with Gary, please visit again cornwelljackson.com or goandgrowfirm.com to connect with us. nextlevelshow.com, where you can find today's conversations with other guests. You can also help me on Twitter, vote thumbs up or thumbs down to the first Karate Kid and whether or not Bob needs to watch this show. Connect with us
Weren't
on
there like 12
Facebook.
of them? How many Karate Kids were there?
You only need to see one. Just one. The
Just
first one. So thank you very much. Hope you guys all have a Mr. Miyagi week.
Oh, don't even start.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.